We're live. So, as we always do, every single live, we try to get the people warmed up and get them ready for the show. Feel like spring? Does it feel like spring where you're at?
Not at all. Not at all. Actually, the sun is trying to do a little something, so I can see how it's coming. It's coming
Slowly but surely.
slowly but surely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're waiting for a few people to come on, and then we're gonna get crack-a-lacking. But this is Caco Tea. You have your Caco Tea?
Yes.
Caco Tea to the world.
Yum yum.
Yum yum, eh? Where did you buy your caco? Where do you get your caco?
My mother brings it from Dominica or from anybody that's coming from the Caribbean. Yeah.
That is how we do. And
Yes.
it's so funny how we get so caught up and we make sure that we have that caco tea
hmm
with us because we're worried that we will not find it wherever we live. So
I was just
we
making
make
a list with my mom this morning, saying, where is the cockle tea this morning? Where is it? I need it. I left the house most vexed this morning.
All right, so we're starting to get a few folks coming on. I want to say good afternoon to everyone. I think we have about 6 viewers now locked in,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get going. Don't forget, if you just locking in, you can always say your highs, interact with us right here on Kako T. You can ask your questions. How our guests, every single guest will answer, of course, if they choose to. They'll choose to answer the question. So we just like a lot of interaction. The show is about an hour long, and we want to make sure that we get all our viewers engaged, or we keep them engaged in the conversation. Today, of course, we're interviewing the lovely, the beautiful. Well, you see her right there, and I mean, she's a star. The Huffington Post Meredith Leon that's McCormack describes her as a songstress with a voice. She shook my world when I first heard her work. Her music was oddly familiar in the vein of Ella Fitzgerald and in the sadness of Billie Holiday. A daughter of the soil, born in the nature island of the Caribbean, Dominica, and raised in the bustle of New York City. She shares her love for music and stage as an opera and jazz singer with a nice fusion blend. That's two United Nations performances under her belt, as well as a series of shows at the Metropolitan in New York. The 2014 NAACP Honourary Award recipient. Her musical album entitled Chasing Rainbows, a memoir of her troubled past. MC Full of Gold, as she's affectionately known as. Let's welcome Marie Claire Giraud. Marie Claire, hi.
Hey, how is everybody? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, wonderful
How's the
and
weather?
blessed.
How's
How
the
are
weather
you?
in your? I'm good. I'm good. I am alive with that spring forward thing. I'm
Mm-hmm.
alive.
Yes.
I felt like I literally sprung forward because my eyes are still like red
Right.
from the lack of sleep. 1 hour makes a difference, eh?
1 hour, it definitely does make us difference. But the sun is, I can see that the sun is stronger today than it even was yesterday. So I see that we're moving in the right direction of warm weather, which I am so thankful for.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And I like to start my show with how I know my guests.
hmm
I remember I always used to see you like walking the streets in Roseau. Like, I don't know if you were on vacation or if you were passing through or you were living there for a little bit. I can't remember or recall exactly how it was. But I remember seeing you, walking the streets of Roseau, and you had once I saw you had this like cut up t-shirt, like sort of like a crop top, and jeans, cut up jeans, like they were totally like holy. And I remember another time seeing you in this big skirt, this huge skirt, and again your little crop top, and with your curly hair all over the place and stuff. And I would always say, "Who's that girl? Who's that girl?" I always wonder. And then someone said to me, "Oh, she's Marie Claire. She's a singer. She goes back and forth between Dominica and New York." And then it was, I think, I don't even remember if I had already fully moved to Canada yet, or if it was just, I just saw you in passing. But I remember once, you actually, I can't remember how we ran into each other, but you invited me to your house. Don't know if you remember that. You lived at the time in, um, right above Massac. What is that
In
called
Czech
again?
Hall.
Check all. You
Yes.
lived in a big white house,
Yes. Yes.
and I think you wanted your eyebrows threaded. And someone told you that I knew how to thread brows.
Yes.
And I came to your house, and you had this backyard. You had this big big bench, it was, or hammock, sort of a bench, sort
Yes.
of a
Outside.
thingamajigger
Yes. Yes.
outside, and you were like lounging there, like this exotic whatever. And I got to speaking to you, and you were just this interesting individual. And ever since, we became Facebook friends, followed each other and stuff. And
Yes.
I remember years ago, you were in Dominica. You did I think it was a little piece you were doing on your album, and you'd brought in a famous person, and
Sprott events.
yes, everybody flooded in to the
Yes.
Fortune Hotel because you sent out invitations, of course, before,
Yes.
um, and people came to see you, and I was so impressed. I was like, oh my god, like, hey, I kind of like know a celebrity, I felt like I was feeling myself, and stuff. But Maricla, I mean, you blossomed so beautifully, and like, I mean, you do such great music, and we're gonna get into it hot and heavy, and at today, I know some people might get scared, but hey, it such is
Don't be
I
don't be scared.
don't be scared,
Don't
right?
be scared.
So we're just gonna keep speaking and keep talking and sharing, and I hope that the listeners, the viewers, are utterly entertained. Marika, how old were you when you moved to the U.S.?
I moved to the U.S. when I was 4 years old. I moved to the Bronx. My grandmother was already here. Actually, my mother was already a U.S. citizen. She finished high school here in United States. But then she got engaged to my dad, Julian Giraud, and then she went back to Dominica and married him. They were married here. They went back to Dominica to live. And then when I was 4, my brother was 6 months old. My mom moved us permanently here to the Bronx.
Okay, and as a West Indian woman, why did you choose to study opera?
Well, that is a very interesting story, Jael. So I was in my last year of studying archaeology at Brooklyn College in New York, part of
Mm-hmm.
CUNY, City University of New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a job at Tower Records. I miss Tower Records. I miss record stores, period. But Tower Records was great. Tower Records on 8th Street. And of course, I knew classical music. I studied classical piano as a child, so I directly went to the classical department. I needed a part-time job. So went there. They weren't hiring, but they said they are hiring in the soundtracks department. And the jazz department, I was like, oh my God, I know nothing about jazz. So I went in there. I looked through all the stacks of CDs and records. I memorized some names, and I went to the manager. Boom, I got hired. And then I started working at Tower Records. Then I met my very good friend Anna, and Anna was one of the managers there at Tower Records, and she introduced me because of working there. I was introduced to people like Ella Fitzgerald, Dinah Washington, all these singers I didn't know before. And she said, Mariko, you have a great voice. I didn't believe her. She's my friend. She's gonna say anything. She's gonna. And one of these days, she got me on stage, JL, to sing. It wasn't opera yet; it was jazz. And I swear to God, JL, it was like, what did I do before this moment? It's like I didn't breathe. I didn't see colors. I wasn't alive until that moment when I touched the microphone and I sang. It's like nothing was important. I didn't live. It's like that's when I was born, practically. And it was like the whole new world just opened up. And I was like, I found my calling. That was it. That was it. So Anna and I, make a long story short, decided to take a trip of the South. She wanted to do rock and roll. I still wanted to do jazz at that point. We settled in Austin, Texas. Long story short, I'm in Tower Records classical department. Unbeknownst to me, the musical director of the Osler Opera Company comes into the department, hears me just singing along to La Boheme because I thought the department was empty. He says, Miss, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing auditions. I'm the music director of the Austin Opera Company. And I want you to audition. I was like, oh my God, I can sing opera. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Go down there to audition. I bombed. I was so nervous. I sang every note but the notes that were on the page. I left with my tail between my legs. Next thing I know, a week later, he calls me back. He says, Mary Claire, I have a feeling about you. Come back. So it's just me and him in the auditorium. And he says, you know what? Just sing for me. Just as high as you think you can go, just sing. And I sang. And next thing I knew, I was accepted into the Austin Lyric Opera Company. And I debuted in La Boheme, and it was magnificent.
Wow. And did you, at that time, did you have any mentors, any people that you were actually looking up to and saying, okay, I want to do this? Because I mean, opera is so far-fetched for a West Indian woman.
Yeah, it's so
You know,
far
I mean, when you
removed.
exactly. How who did you look up to? Because there
There
must be
was
people.
nobody in the opera world that I really looked up to. It was more jazz. Like the reason why I started singing is because of Ella Fitzgerald. She's like my everything. She's everything, everything.
Wow,
And that's
wow.
across the board. She is the number one. Then you get into people like Marian Anderson and Maria Callas and Leontine Price and all of these extraordinary. These are true divas. The word diva has been so watered down today where it means nothing, you know? But a
Mm,
diva in the true sense is an opera singer because they transcend, they bring you to another place. The notes that they can produce are just otherworldly, you know? And I was in Austin, Texas, and then I went to Rome and I studied opera singing.
just like that.
Just like that. No
Who
one can
actually
really stop you, but yourself.
who really contributed to your success? Who would you say contributed to your success?
I would say one of the main, other than God and me, was my cousin Ian Pringle. Ian Pringle has to be one. Um, Ian Pringle never heard me sing, only saw my desire and my passion.
Hmm.
And this man funded me for years until he unfortunately passed away. But he really was the foundation for a lot of it.
You've been part of many collaborations. Rapper Rob Stone, you've done reggae artists, Sprague Bands. How did these actually happen?
So Iola George, who's like my Iola George is just fantastic. So she's in Jamaica, studying at Edel Manley, and she's also a PR. So I was going back and forth to Jamaica a lot because I love to mix opera with different genres, reggae and dancehall being one of the genres that I like to mix it with. And I told Iola, I said, Iola, I want to do a version of Bob Marley's Rastaman chant, and I want Sprague Benz to be the person I want to do it with. Because when I get a collaboration, the person that I want to do it with automatically comes into my head. And I heard his voice over it more than anybody else. And he
Mm.
was like, you know what? Let me just approach the manager. And one thing led to another. And next thing, Sprague Benz is coming in his big black truck to my hotel, and we're having drinks outside and we're talking about this idea. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Let's do it. And we're going to the studio, and it was fantastic.
Wow. So that one happened this week. You did another one with that rap artist,
Rob
um
Stone, yes.
Rob Stone. Like,
Yeah.
how did that happen?
So I am very good friends with Vernon Reed and the rock band, the black rock band Living Color. So
Okay.
I helped Corey Glover. I coached Corey Glover on doing the national anthem at Madison Square Garden because he was very nervous about it. And since I've sung it at many big venues, including the Barclays Center, Vernon was like, let's have Mary Claire come in and just coach you on it. So I did. And that led to their management team bringing something to Vernon saying that, Rob Stone, Sony has this thing called Out of Their Comfort Zone, where they have artists that have had hits, but they want them to recreate it in a different way.
Okay.
And so Missy, their manager said, "Who do you think?" And Vernon was like, "Oh my God, we got to get Mary Claire." And Missy was like, "Oh my God, why didn't I think of Mary Claire?" Yes. So called me in. Rob Stone loved my voice, and yeah, that
That was
happened.
it. And
I
that
got paid a fat check for 15 minutes. 15,
wow. Wow. You must have been
15 minutes.
excited about that.
It was amazing. I mean, I did this Bernard Herrmann loop, the whistle, and when I heard it, I said, "Oh my God, I can sing this in my sleep." I love Bernard Herrmann, and I know that whistle, so it was nothing to recreate it.
Hmm. Now, you've shared the stage with the likes of Kimani Mali, just to name a few. What would you say was your most memorable performance?
My most memorable, just off the top of my head, that would have to be, 2 years ago where they had the terrorist attack in Paris, in France, in
Yes,
Paris.
yes.
So I was scheduled to sing, I'm getting chills. I was scheduled to sing the national anthem at the Barclays Center. And they had, because that happened, they had a French woman sing the French national anthem. And then after, I came on to sing the national anthem, the
Okay.
US national anthem. And even before JL, I could finish, when the audience was so emotional from everything that was happening in the world, and hearing the national anthem and the rockets, red glare, the bombs burst. It was the wave of emotion that came to me on that ice was just, I can never forget that. The hockey play, it was for the Islanders versus another hockey team, and the the ice skaters were pounding their I don't know, their sticks on the ice. The commentators were, it was just pandemonium. And
Wow.
yeah, that blew my mind, because I literally was shaking on the ice, because not because I was nervous, but because of the emotion that
Hmm.
was coming to me. It was strong, and it was a beautiful experience. It was amazing.
Wow. The times I've seen you perform, it was always very, very chilling. It was like, oh my God, like we're waiting for, especially when you hit those notes, girl. Let me tell you. Sometimes I'm like scared. I'm like, I hope she don't pass out, because yo, those
did,
notes, man. The
did she
girl knows
eat enough? Is there water on the stage?
shoot. Those notes are real high, man. I wanna go to the Caribbean a little bit.
Yes.
Because you've had so much um success in New York, in America. You've been embraced a lot by a lot of different people in the States. Can you tell us what your reception, or what the reception is like for America, particularly your home island, Dominica?
Okay. Well, I love Dominica very much. It's the place where I was born. I feel very close to the island, but it's almost like being born in Dominica and being raised in New York. It's almost like a hindrance when you go back to Dominica. Not everybody was. It wasn't altogether a bad experience. In a lot of ways, it was absolutely wonderful. But it's almost like, why did you come back here?
Really?
And it was daunting. Again, not everybody was like that, because not every experience is bad. Not every
Okay.
experience is bad. There's always the good and the bad, the yin and the yang. But I have to say, overall, I love Dominica. I want the best for Dominica. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth, and I would still tell anybody to visit it,
Have you
because
actually performed like in any major events?
yeah, I performed at Creole in the Park
Okay.
a few times. A few Dominicans and I, we got together and started our own little festival called Year of the Child. Anna Raffoul, Nellie Starr, Emile Raffoul, my sister Gail Giraud, Nellie, Emile, yeah, and we all formed this Year of the Child. Queen Africa came down, and Tony Rebel, and it was fantastic to raise money for children in need. So yes, I performed at many different stages in Dominica, and I would do it again. It is my country.
Well, staying on Dominica, what is your fondest more memories about island life?
Oh my God! Can I tell you? Can I first of all, screws? Can I please say screws? Yes, Watton Waven.
People might think you're saying something bad,
It's not. Screws is hold it. It's this fantastic place in Watton Waven, where this man has made this his land. I think he inherited from his dad, and he made these incredible pools, hot water, and it is something to behold and experience. I could go there
He's
every day.
something. He's something to behold and experience. Just
Absolutely.
him himself.
Just him himself.
he's,
Yes.
he's such a character. walking around in his sarongs and head tie with no shoes.
Yes.
Always gives you a big platter of fruit.
Of fruit, yes, and nice fresh cold spring water, and it's wonderful. But my fondest memories of Dominica is being in the countryside. My parents, my mom and my dad, are from South City, Grand Bay. My dad's mother is from Pichelin, and my mother's family is from Grand Bay. And I remember there's nothing like seeing the full moon over Grand Bay. A full moon over Grand Bay in the country has to be one of the most beautiful things on earth to behold,
So
especially
we're
when you go
getting
to the heights. Oh my God. And then bathing in rainwater outside. It's fantastic.
we're getting some reaction here. Faye K Ray says you look and sound like Whitney Houston. So that's Faye
Thank
K.
you.
People who are actually coming in.
Yes.
There's somebody else is shouting you out. That is Bolan out there. That's Lava's here. She's saying hi, MC. Love
Hey.
MC. So we're getting some reaction from the viewers right about now.
Yes.
Excuse
And
me.
and I have to say, there's a David Bowie lyric, right, from Let's Dance, and it's
Mhm.
under the moonlight, the serious moonlight. And that lyric always reminds me of Grand Bay full moon.
Really?
Oh,
Life.
what? There's nothing like that. Nothing.
Wow. You feel
Exquisite.
like you're so people don't even understand. Like you feel like you're close to the sky.
The moon is
Like
so huge.
huge.
You feel like you can touch it.
Mhm.
It is gorgeous. It dims out all lights. It's just amazing. And then people in the country, they collect the rainwater when it falls, and the rain falls so hard in Dominica, in the countryside, that you can actually bathe under that rain, and that has to be one of the best experiences of my life.
Wow. You make me want to go back home now.
Right, right.
And get some of that rainwater. Now, Marie Claire, the acclaimed National Geographic photographer Rudy Roy,
Yes.
he ran a campaign called Their Image, Their Voice, where you were featured, and you shared briefly on your Me Too hashtag Me Too story.
Yes.
Firstly, why did you want to share your story of sexual abuse?
Well, I think it's very important that that children, especially children of color, they see someone who has been through something like that, and that has turned a negative into a positive. I think it's extremely empowering, not only for me to tell my story, but for somebody who's experiencing it, or who has experienced it, to see somebody who has made it through the other side.
When exactly did the sexual abuse start?
It started when I was 7. I was raped when I was 7 years old, and then I was sexually molested from the age of 8 to 16.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm absolutely so sorry to hear that.
Power to the people.
Sexual abuse is very very common in the Caribbean, in the world.
It's common throughout the
However,
world.
yeah.
Yeah.
However, it sometimes feel that it's become sort of part of our society,
Right.
and we just have to accept it. What are your thoughts on that?
No, you never have to. That's not something that you would want to accept. You accept Skittles. You accept a candy bar. You don't want to accept you accept a bottle of perfume. You don't want to accept something like that, because that
Okay, I apologize for this interruption. Something happened, but we're getting her back on.
Yes, sorry about that.
She's back here. She's back here
Yes.
with us. Sometimes some things just don't want to be spoken about, eh?
Exactly.
Jeez
The
Louise.
devil, the devil, the devil is a liar.
He is definitely a liar, but
Yes.
you have been victorious. You were telling us a little bit about about your whole experience with sexual abuse. We have some people coming on saying the nature islands moonlights. We're talking about the moonlight and the nature island, but we're actually touching a little bit on the fact that you experience sexual abuse
Yes.
at a very tender age, and how in the islands, like, you've heard about, even going most recently, so many different women has speaking up against sexual abuse, yet it feels like it's not trickling to the Caribbean at all. Like it's stuck in North America,
Right.
and nobody else is opening up. Nobody's voicing or saying anything. You're not hearing of anybody being arrested. You're not hearing anything happening.
Right.
It's just gone. It's almost stagnant in the Caribbean. What exactly do you think about? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that a lot of people, especially people of color, they see this as a stigma, and they don't want to talk about it. It's a huge embarrassment, especially for the victim and the victim's family, and they think that the best way to deal with it is to just hush it up and not say anything, and that's the worst thing that you could possibly do, especially for the person that has been abused. It's the worst thing is to not to talk about it, not to get that person some kind of therapy and help, and not to prosecute the person that did this to them.
It's a difficult thing to talk about. I want to reiterate how sorry I am that you had to go through that. But can you take us back a little, when you were 6?
It's almost like, it's like my mom told me that when I was little, I was very boisterous, outgoing, on Virgin Lane. We had a house in Virgin Lane where we lived, that I was a child going across the street to ask for Phyllis to get me, bread and jelly. I was asking the old ladies down the street if I can come look at their house. I was always out and about and doing things. But when that happened, it's like the light was on and then the light turned off. People don't understand how the gravity that this does to a person. You're innocent. The child's innocent is lost forever. And innocence is something that is so fragile and it's so precious, and it should be guarded because it's your childhood. You should be able to have, any child should be able to have a childhood where they can run, they can play, and they don't have to feel threatened, or attacked or bothered. Um, so it was horrifying. It was horrible. It was horrifying. Yeah. And I thank the maker that I made it. And it's only recently that I realized that I thought I had lost my faith because I thought that God had abandoned me. But actually, it's me that abandoned God, because he was with me every step of the way, because there's no other way I could have made it.
What did you do at that tender age? When
Music, I God brought music into my life, and angels along the way to support me. Most specifically, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony is something that just transformed my life and helped me tremendously during those years.
Wow,
Music,
wow.
yes.
Okay, we're on the lines of speaking out and speaking up about it. Was How close was that person to you or to your environment?
The person from the ages of 8 to 16, I spent every summer in this person's house and on family visits if we went to the house and blah 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 blah. So it was yeah, 3 4 months out of the year, every year.
What was the outcome?
The outcome was that I saw therapy on my own, because I knew that if I didn't, I would be even more messed up than I am right now. And I needed to get some to have some tools to deal with it, because it's not something that you truly ever get over, but there are tools that can help you live a somewhat normal life.
Was that person ever prosecuted?
No, neither people were ever prosecuted.
Do you feel somewhat that they may have done that to other people besides you?
They definitely did that to other people other than me, but they they died miserable deaths. They didn't die peacefully. They did
So
not.
you feel some sort of, you feel better knowing that, hey,
Not even because at that point, forgiveness is a powerful thing, you know, and in order for me to move forward in my healing process, I have to forgive
hmm
everyone who was ever a part of any of this. I have to be able to forgive them. I don't forget, but I forgive and move on.
what do you think can be done in the islands to end sexual abuse?
Well, not to be so hush hush about it, not to make the victim feel that they're the person that should be feeling guilty. It should be more open to talking about it. And I think that people's demographics, the amount of money that people make, have a lot to do with it. Like a mother will be in the house with maybe her husband and or a relative, but the mother cannot leave because that's her livelihood. So she stays knowing that, or maybe not knowing that her child is being abused. So money and finances sometimes has a lot to do with things as well. Not that that is everything, but that plays a part. And
We
just be more open and talking about it, and for it not to be a stigma.
have a question coming up from Curval David, who's saying, what would you say to parents to prevent this from happening to their children?
You need to talk to your children. Talk to your children. Children today are extremely smart. Extremely smart. They can work an iPhone. I'm sure your baby JL could probably work your iPhone right now.
Jeez.
So the minute that that they can understand, you talk to them about this. If anybody touches them, if they feel uncomfortable, come and tell you. Not only, of course, you have to remain the child's parent, but you have to have a relationship with your child that the child feels comfortable in coming to you and talking to you, that they will not be reprimanded or beaten or whatever, that they can be open with you, telling mommy, this is what happened to me. I don't know what to do, you know?
Yeah, you really have to create an environment that is warm and
Yes.
friendly. You don't have to be like my mom always used to say, "Oh, I don't have to be your friend,
Right.
but I'm gonna be friendly to you because I want if something happens to you that you feel like you can come to me, you can talk to me." And
Absolutely.
a lot of parents put up this wall and they are like, you're I'm right, you're wrong. There's nothing you can do about it,
Right.
and you're going. And it's very prevalent in the Caribbean because
Right.
especially the stricter parents, you don't want to go to them because you fear that you might, especially if it's happening right underneath their noses, your mom's boyfriend, your neighbor, an
Hmm.
uncle. You always fear that, hey, that person, something might happen to that person, or they might not believe you, or they
Right.
might do something. So it's always good to keep a line of open communication between you and your kids, so that
Right.
they're able to, because I know of kids who are still terrified of their parents.
Right.
They will not come to them to even talk about seeing their period, much as for getting raped,
Right.
so
Yes.
how do we break that? That is one of the ways. Any other suggestions that you feel that people can actually do to prevent sexual abuse, or to at least
I think
um, report it when it happens? Like, what exactly would you recommend?
definitely, definitely. Once you have that relationship with your child, that your child can come to you and talk to you, and your child, God forbid, comes to you with a story like this, you report this person. Also in the schools could also have counseling. Classes like this is a safe zone. If anyone comes up to you, if anyone touches you, if anyone says anything to you, go to this person. We
Someone
should
just
we have to be able to protect children. Children are our most precious things. They're precious.
Now, Marco, someone's asking this question based on your experience. What sort of signs should parents pay attention to?
Well, it's your child. If you know your child to be one way, and your child all of a sudden changes, something happened. Something happened. You know, and it's all in how you, the parent, deals with that, approaches your child. Because if your child changes and your child does not come up to you and tell you anything, who knows what the abuser is telling the child? I'll hurt your parents. You know, if you tell, they won't believe you. But you'll go to jail. I mean, abusers are cowards. And they'll do and say anything to keep their activities undercover. But if you see
Right.
your child has changed, then you have to address that in a very non-combative way to make your
At
child
what
feel comfortable to talk.
at what age do you think? I know you are not a parent, but you've experienced it, right? But what age would you think would be acceptable for a parent to talk to their kids about the good and the bad touch? Because that's
As,
something that
as soon as your child can talk,
education is key.
education.
Someone is
Yes,
saying parents and children need to be educated in how to deal with these issues. It's something that is very rampant in I know even in Dominica, like
yes,
it's something that's happened. It's something that people are scared to speak about, and even when they speak about it or they speak out, everything gets placed in a box. Like
right.
we're not supposed to deal with it. A lot of times the perpetrators they get off scot free.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've experienced it in the islands. I know what I'm talking about, and I think stricter laws need to be
They
put in
deserve the
place
death penalty.
to actually protect young people, boys and
Yes,
girls,
yes.
because so many children are getting hurt and they're unable to speak to their parents, they're unable to speak to
And it's
someone.
life
They
changing. This is something that is life changing. A
yes,
lot.
and they become like products of society, and we don't even
Yes,
know
they
why.
become
We're like,
statistics. You find out that this child, is on drugs, is promiscuous, is that, is this, is that. But what's the backstory with that child? What has that child been through? You know, what has that child been through? It's easy to just shove these kids under the rug and say, "Oh, this fits in that mold and this fits in that mold." No, it's too easy to do that, to say that.
now going back to you, Marika, and even in
Hmm.
your life, would you say that has affected a lot of the decisions you make? Because you're not a mom, you've never
Nor do I
become a
want to
mom.
be. God bless you. I will do not want to be.
Why is that, Marika?
Because, I'll tell you know why? Because God forbid, if I have a child, my child comes to me and say, "Mommy, this person touched me." There's not a law in the land that will stop me. There's not a law in the land. So it's best I do not have a child. Because, yeah, you wouldn't be able to stop me. No, 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 no.
But
You can't touch
going,
my child. Sorry.
well, I'm sorry and about your experience, but I'm happy that you could share with us
Of course.
the whole sexual abuse, and you could still keep a positive outlook on life. You're still able to continue living. Some people, there's somebody probably out there who's looking at us right now and saying, I don't feel like I can continue to live under these circumstances. But there is hope. You
There
can
is
continue
hope.
your life. You just have to first take a stand
Even
and say
if
that I'm not.
even
Yeah, go
if
ahead.
there is, like, in certain people's community, if there's no one to particularly talk to, there's usually someone, the church, the police department, the doctor, somebody you trust. It's not good to keep that information inside. It will only harm you. And I'm only speaking to the person that's being abused. It will only harm you. That information has to come out and the healing has to start. It might be a life, your whole life you'll be healing. I'm still healing, I was stuttering for most of my childhood because of the trauma. But you have to be able to talk about it because that's the only way that the healing will start. And it's not your fault. You should not feel guilty at all. At all.
Did you feel guilty?
Did I feel? No, I did not feel guilty, but I felt that my family would be hurt because of the threats being told to me that they would be.
Okay. Someone is saying here, Kimberly Cambridge is saying here, great discussion so far. Sexual abuse is is a scourge on the Caribbean. The onus is also on the parents to take the side of the child as
That's
well.
right.
So crucial that parents not choose the side of the perpetrator over their kids.
Yeah, I don't even
Now,
understand how that even happens. I don't get that. How you choose somebody other than your child. When your child comes to you, when your child is brave enough to come to you and say, "This is what happened to me," you want to say that, "No, I don't believe you. I believe the other person." What? You, you're sitting with
or even take hush money. In
yes,
some cases, you find people have actually been paid off to shut up, and it's unfortunate, but it happens. It happens a
right.
lot in the
And
Caribbean. Are
shut
you a
up.
little puppy?
Yeah, it's really a terrorist. It's not a puppy. It's a terrorist.
Is
um,
that your
but
guard?
oh,
Your
but
guard dog?
you know, but the thing is that hush money, money doesn't last. Money doesn't last. What about the scars that's done to your child? That lasts forever. The money does not last. Money finishes, and that kind of money will finish. It's
There's no amount of money.
there's no amount of money that can pay for your child's innocence. There's no amount of money.
Madeline is saying, I appreciate her honesty and not having children, and if someone hurt your child, so she appreciates that. We have another person here saying, as long as the children can understand. I guess that is in response to when you think you could actually speak to a child about the right
Right.
thing.
Yes, yes. As long as your child can talk and communicate with you, then you should have that conversation.
Yeah. So, you know, talking about sexual abuse becomes so emotional for a lot of people. A lot of people
Yes.
actually, people been messaging me on my phone, and I really and truly do not like speaking about these things, because it always brings up things for people that I know, and people who are close to me. And a friend of mine actually just messaged me, and she's like, "Oh my god, I can only I know how she's feeling. I've actually experienced that." And it's really sad and disheartening that our laws are not strict in the Caribbean, are not strict enough, to take these on, and actually, I mean, there are a few cases that have actually, gotten solved.
Right.
People have been arrested and stuff, but then majority of it, you find people, they don't know what to do. They just keep it quiet. They say, I remember hearing somebody says, you can move on with your life. It's okay. You can move on with your life. um you mentioned that you were really traumatized, like you were really shook up about that. What sort of therapy did you go to for sexual abuse?
Well, when I was 12, I stuttered so bad that I couldn't say my name. It took me minutes to say, "Get married, Claire." Out. Never mind.
Marie
Giraud.
Claire is a long Marie Claire is a long name, man.
Right? Right? And then Giraud would have probably taken me another 5 minutes. So when my mom took me to speech therapist, the therapist told her it's not speech, it's trauma that's causing this. So then he said, well, maybe she should go to a group therapy with other girls. And that's how I started to go into therapy at the age of 12. I was introduced to my therapist, Dr. Sobo and Dr. Mate. I'm still in contact with them now. And they helped me tremendously. And even now and then, I'm in and out of therapy. If I need to speak to someone, I do. There's no shame in that. No one is perfect, Um, no one, no one. And there's nothing wrong with seeking help when you need it.
It's a good thing you mentioned that, because on next week's program, we have a psychologist, a mental therapist.
Mm.
She's going to be on, talking and sharing with us. So, if you are, actually on right now, and you wanna, or you're going to be looking at this video, and you wanna
Yes.
be part of the conversation, it'll be a great time to
Okay.
actually connect and share with us. Someone said, Vanessa is saying, on the bright side, she has a beautiful voice, and the music has been her escape. Keep singing, you're a shining star. So that's what coming from Vanessa, who's tuning. What is going to happen next for Marie Claire in
Oh my
terms
God.
of the music? What can we look forward to? Because I hear news of movies. I hear of. I mean, tell me what's going on a brighter
Well,
side.
well, there's, there's lots of stuff coming up. nothing that I can touch on right now,
in,
but
in
but
its
just
entirety. But you can give us,
yes,
you can give us a little something.
yeah.
You know.
But there's some big things. There's some really amazing things coming, and I'll let you know, JL.
You
I'll let
promise?
you know. I promise.
I'll be the first to know.
You'll be the first to know, and then you can break the news.
Wow.
Breaking news.
Wow. Well, so tell me, what are you gonna be planning for the next couple of days? Where can we see you? If persons are in the States, in New York, can
Well,
they check
for
you out any
Easter,
place?
I'm going to be singing solo at the Riverside Cathedral on the Upper West Side. Riverside Cathedral is on Claremont and I think 110th. It's in back of Columbia University. I'll be singing Good Friday and Easter Sunday solos, arias from Handel's Messiah. Then I have a concert coming up in May, but I don't have the date yet. A recital with three other opera singers. I'll be singing four arias. I'll let you know. I'll let you know about that, the date. I'll be in DC, and April 30th, I'll be doing a fundraiser concert for some senators, Democratic senators. And
Why
no
you
orange
why you
40,
making sure?
no orange 45 here.
So you okay? So you'll be doing some performances, yeah?
Yes, and for the summer, I'll be doing two performances at Joe's Pub, which is a great venue in Manhattan. Which I don't have the
Okay.
dates yet, but they'll be coming, and I'll let you know.
Okay. Any collaborations we can look forward to? Musical
Collab-
collaboration?
yes, there are, but I can't say it yet.
Girl, you just being so
I
tight-lipped.
can't. I can't.
Just
Come
tell me all
on, you're killing
the
me.
OMG.
But I'll let you know.
Well,
I'm gonna. I'm
we've
gonna.
put
I'm gonna direct message you. Okay, JL, you can let this out now. You can let this out now. Yes.
yeah, because when I remember seeing your video on the Fox one, the interview you did
Yes.
about 2 years ago. And I'm like, yo, people don't know how famous she is. They act like she good,
Yes.
and they were really talking about you, and I shared it on Facebook and stuff, and people were messaging me. They're like, "Are you gonna have her on your show?" And I'm like, "Well, you're just gonna have to wait." And everything was already in the works. It was
Right.
just, I was just putting out stuff out there, and I really you do what you do, Marie Claire, and you've actually that no not very many black folks, so to speak,
Hmm.
black folks actually gravitate towards, and you've actually blown up and you're doing big things, and I can only see bigger things in the future
Thank
for
you.
you. I know you're there, trying to stay warm in New York City.
Winter is killing me.
But
Killing
what's
me.
what's it doing? What's it doing to your hair?
Listen, I get deep conditioning treatments all the time because every 2 weeks I go to get a deep conditioning treatment because usually in the winter I have a weave. I keep a weave on in the winter because I just can't take it. But I took it out just a couple weeks ago just because I wanted to feel my own hair. So I get deep conditioning treatments just to keep it hydrated.
She's giving us that advice on how
Yeah.
to keep that natural glow.
The natural glow.
The natural glow.
Yeah.
Is someone saying here, Eve Joseph is saying, "You're a shining star. You've come through on the other side. Keep on keeping on."
Thank you.
Someone else is saying, Marie Claire, how is it? How can I find you on iTunes? Someone's asking.
Okay, you can just do I have songs on it? I believe I have songs. Marie Claire, just put in Marie Claire, exactly how it is. And whatever songs I have, they will pop up. Or you can go onto my website,
That was about to say.
www.marieclairemusic.com.
Yes, so check out her website. The handles are right above this video, so you can follow her on Instagram. You can follow her on Facebook. She's always posting stuff on Instagram. She's always on Facebook and Twitter. And of course, you could visit her website. That's mariclemusic.com. Maricla, it's been a pleasure having you here on Cacoa Tea.
It's been a pleasure.
Love your energy, love your vibe, and I look forward to Whitney Houston moments. you'll create your own moments. But
You know what? You know what,
somebody say
JL?
you sound like her, eh? So you
Oh,
never know, eh?
well, that is indeed a compliment because Whitney Houston is one of the voices of the century. Well, of all time, actually. What an incredible, incredible, incredible voice. But JL, you should big yourself up too because, despite Maria and you were doing your post down there, I know it wasn't easy and you just kept it going through it all. So I applaud you.
Thank you very much. I had great parents. What can I say? My parents, I owe everything to them, eh, really,
Right,
because they created my sisters and I with what
right.
I like to call dauphin. We have backbones of iron. you
I
know,
can contest to
so
that. Yes, I can agree. Yes, I can concur. Yes.
so we definitely we know how to be strong, not easily broken,
Right.
and you gotta just keep pressing on, man. I mean,
Yes.
through the storm, and I look at every sort of disappointment as a blessing,
Yes.
and I just look at that's how I live my life, and people might want to say, oh, she's this or she's that. I just look at every disappointment as a blessing, and I try
Hmm.
and see the silver lining in every gray cloud.
And
And
there's
if
always
there's no
that silver
silver
lining.
lining,
It's always there.
sometimes there isn't for a while, eh? Sometimes there isn't for a while, but you just put some silver eyeshadow on, and here's your silver lining.
But then you have to trust that it's coming. You have to have faith. Faith is a very powerful thing as
Exactly,
well.
exactly.
Faith is a powerful thing.
And it was a pleasure having you on Cacoa Tea, and I hope that you could come on again when you're in a new Warner Brothers blockbuster film. You know. Uh,
You'll
just
be on
just
set
making
with
sure.
me. You'll be like, "This is JL Kakoti with Mary Claire on set. Hey, girl. Hey."
Hey, girl, I'll be like stalking you. Shoot. I'm like, I know her. Okay. I took the bus to come see her. Leave me alone.
Exactly. I got
Right.
my pass. I got my pass. I got my
Hey,
credentials.
hello. Thank you so very much for joining us, and thanks for sharing your story with us. Your story of survival, your story of definitely surviving such a horrible events growing up. But you've managed to come up on top. And as someone said, keep on keeping on.
I will do that. Thank you,
Um,
everyone.
Thank you very much for being a guest, and I hope to see greater things for you. Just remember to keep drinking your Cacoa tea. To keep you nice and
Wait, wait.
warm. Keep you nice and warm. We're hoping for warm weathers, but you never know what's gonna happen with this country. You can get like all different seasons in the same day. So just drink a little
Oh,
Cacoa tea. It'll keep the
Kakoti.
chair
Yes.
warm. It'll
Yes.
keep the heart everything warm. Until
Everything
next
warm.
time. Thanks again, guys. Those of you
Thank
who
you.
joined and shared. Don't forget to keep sharing the video. If you have been on this timeline, share the video.
Yes.
Let a friend know. Tag a friend. Tag a colleague. Spread the word. And thanks again to all those of you who come on every single week, my diehard supporters who are always there supporting me. Thank you so very much for that. I could not do this without you guys, and I'm so very, very appreciative. Thanks to the lovely Mary Claire for joining us here today. You can, of course, get the audio to this video. It'll be on my website. That is www.jljoseph.com/plug. You just have to remember podcast log. So PLOG. Yes. So you'll find the audio, and it should be up there in the next 24 hours. So if you're in your car and you want to listen, it'll also be available on iTunes once I load it up to the plug. So you can also get that on iTunes. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback from a lot of folks who've been listening in two parts, listening all at once. Somebody said they were sitting on the parking lot and they couldn't leave last week because they were enjoying the last week's podcast. So I just want to encourage you. You can go on there, subscribe if you want to get updates. Don't forget to subscribe to of course the podcast, and I hope to see you guys when we have next another amazing woman. It seems we have a few women coming up in the next couple of weeks, so check us out next week for another Cacoa Tea. Until next time. Thanks, Margaret. Bye.
Thank you, JL. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. God bless.